Hello, dear everyone, the audience within Pakistan and without Pakistan, and my dear students. This is Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed. Once again, we are having a very short video lecture on a poem which is named and titled as The Fist by Derek Walcott. Uh, Derek Walcott is a Caribbean poet and dramatist. He has been writing number of things which are mostly counted as the post-colonial, and it is because he belongs to a place which was formerly colonized by the colonizers, and later on it was freed, and that is why it's a part of post-colonial states. His writings are really very impressive, and he has been writing on many issues which are mostly relevant to the post-coloniality and colonialism and the effects of colonialism. But this time, I have chosen a poem which is really very significant. It's a very short poem, and apparently it seems to have a very unromantic sort of title, "The Fist." But the poem is really something which is very much romantic and very much concerned with the human life, and it's working on the earth, and it's also talking about the people who are really engaged in soft passions and emotions as well. Let us enter into the poem and see what the poem is about. The text of the poem is very small, just having a few lines, and therefore it's really enjoyable, but the subject is quite different. I think if I let my audience know that this poem is actually a type of love poem, you will be surprised that there is no beloved, there is no enjoyment and pleasure of love to be discussed. It is in fact something which is resulting because of love, intense love, emotional love, and the kind of love which makes us up to some extent mad. And because of this madness, what troubles can come there, and ultimately, it's a type of poem where love is discussed in a very different way. A few poets have discussed like that, as for example, we have Robert Frost, who has been discussing this type of things in his poem "Stopping by the Wood." And same could be the case with many other poets, but very little of these things have been discussed about. So let's see what the poem actually is about. First of all, talking something about Derek Walcott. Derek Walcott have been a teacher and a playwright. Everybody knows this. He's a poet and artist also. He is the Nobel Prize winner too, and he was born in Lucia, St. Lucia, on an island, the British West Indies, and he is a type of person who has got the both type of parents, white and black both, and ultimately is a mixed racial ancestry. And he's been writing on the themes like divided roots and rich sources of material for his poetry. This type of introduction I have already given in some of my other videos. So if you need to know more, you can watch those videos on Derek Walcott. But the next is the poem. The Fist, for example. Before you read the poem, just look at these two hearts. I mean, these two hearts are actually indicating the two sides of love, what it can give and what it can receive. This thing would be quite visible, and the heart is the very thing which is suffering, which is the focus, which is the center of this poem. The poem is The Fist. This is the very short poem, quite visible for you people. Let me have a little bit of reading of the poem. The fist clenched round my heart loosens a little, and I gasp brightness, but it tightens again. When have I ever not loved the pain of love? But this has moved past love to mania. This has the strong clench of the madman. This is gripping the ledge of unreason before, plunging, howling into the abyss. Pulled hard, then hard, this way at least you live. So that is the very small poem, and actually it is in two parts or two stanzas, let us say. But these two parts are again very much different from the normal stanza formation, because you can see that the fifth line is not complete in the first part. It enters into the second part also, and then the second part's fifth line is separated by the poet in order to give a different touch to the poem, in order to let us know what this poem is going to be about. Now look at the title, The Fist. Now what is this actually? You look at the picture, the fist is there, and the fist is holding the heart in it. So the fist is not the type of fist with which you may knock somebody, but it's the kind of fist which holds the heart or anything in the hand, and with the help of the pressure of the muscles of the fingers of the hand, that thing can be crunched or crumpled. Same is the case with the heart of the poet. The poet says that with the help of this fist, the heart can be crumpled. And therefore, he takes this form and says that the fist is there, and that fist has clenched around his heart. Uh, and therefore, he feels painful. But sometimes this fist loosens its grip, and because of the loosening of the grip, all of a sudden he is able to take big breaths. I mean, big gasps he takes and feels brightened as well. But very soon again it tightens, and so it's not possible to come out of the pain of love, out of the trouble which is happening because of the love, because of the crumpling of the heart, because of the problem which is happening to the person who is involved in love. So that is one of the consequences of love, that one feels pained because of the love. And especially if the love is intense, this pain continues to be there. Only a few moments come where there could be something which is happy, which is good, which is pleasurable, or at least one can say that one is possible to escape. It's possible for one to escape the grip of love or the pain of love. A little bit of the brightness and pleasure would come, but very soon the pain returns again, because the fist has again clenched the heart. In that way, the things are coming and going. Sometime the pain is coming, sometime the pleasure is coming. So pain and pleasure, but most of the time it is the pain of love which is going on. That is what the poet wants to highlight through the symbol of this fist. And you see, this is something that may be liked by the people, by saying that okay, uh, this is love, and when you love someone, definitely the pain of that love is also to be felt. No, this is not the type of pain with which one may say that the body is injured, or some cut has taken place, or some other pain is going on. It's not like that. It's a very different type of pain. Let us enter into the poem and see what is the type of difference here. For example, the poet says, in these lines, the poet says here, for example, second part, but this has moved past love to mania. So that is the main issue actually. The poet says that his love is up to some extent very intense, and that intensity of love converts this thing into maniacal madness type of love. When this is the situation, what happens? This has the strong clench of madman. This is gripping the ledge of the unreason, that because of the madness, almost reason is not working. It is the unreason level where the poet has reached, and because of that, madness has come, and because of that, the pain has come before plunging, howling into the abyss. And he says that this is something which can take you to the abyss. Formlessness, for example, it can take you to. It can finish your life. It can make you something which is non-existent. This much the pain can be there. This much the trouble can be there. But only if you take this emotion of love to maniac level, or to the level of madness. If you do so, then you will be no more. But then the poet advises his heart that instead of entering into the abyss, the last line has been used to say that it should stop. The heart should stop. It should wait for a moment, because this is the only source through which the life of the poet is continuing. So it means that the poet has exchanged the pain of love for the life of love which he's having. He's so much involved into love that he would like to have the pain, but he would not like to turn his pain to madness or maniac level, because if he does so, surely it will happen that he will be no more. So in order to keep on living, he needs to bear this pain. So the end of the pain is not possible, because if the pain ends, then the life of the poet also ends. So in order to survive, the poet needs to stay on. So this is the very short poem which the poet has written in order to give two aspects of love, and then the heightening of the emotion of love to the madness level. And if madness comes continuously, it means that ultimately the poet will be no more. So that is why it has to go through, it has to stay in the same kind of pain. So this is what the poet is saying in the poem The Fist. Now see, if we discuss the poem on different levels, you can see that two pronged nature of love has been talked about. That love can give us pleasure also, it can give us pain also, and it gives happiness for the short while. Most of the time, it gives the pain. And this is the experience of most of the people. Love may be divine, love may be, this worldly love or mundane love. What happens that there is very little happiness. Most of the time, it's a pang of love which one has to suffer, because it's very difficult to keep the beloved pleased all the time. This keeping the beloved pleased and happy is the kind of trouble because of which one can become mad as well. So in that way, this madness may be present here and there and all around of us, but still, if you pass through that, there is something purity of love which you achieve. And so pangs of love are there. These pangs are not felt by everybody. This is the intensity of love. For example, in one of his poems, John Donne says that he and his beloved are the people who do not weep and cry because of the pains of love which they are receiving. And as a result, their condition is like the condition of the planets and the upper heavenly bodies which are beyond the earth. And like earth, they do have earthquakes on them, but never ever it happens that the earth comes to know what is happening there. But if there is a little bit of earthquake on earth, all the people come to know about that. So he says that in that way, Jordan says that they are superior lovers. So the pangs of love which are felt by a person, they are the pangs which only that person can feel, and he has to absorb the pain instead of crying. But the poet says that this level of the pangs of love can be achieved only at that time when somebody goes and reaches to the madness of love, maniac level. The people may be maniac in the literal sense of the word, but actually it is losing oneself for the sake of the beloved, losing oneself for the pleasing of the beloved, and in order to please, everything is done. And so if you do so, then definitely the pains will be the result of that. The poet says that a little relaxation will be here and there, but that relaxation does not stop for a long time. And as a result, one again and again returns to the pangs of love. So for love, one has the pangs only, one has the pains only, most of the time. But you see, the life of a lover depends on these pains. Because if he is having pain of love, it means that love is alive, love is working, and for the lover, this is the most important thing. And that's why it's not possible for the lover to run away from that. There is no escape, no choice for the poet at all. And so the poet has to the lover has to remain in that condition, because otherwise the poet would die, otherwise the lover would die, love would finish. In order to keep this love alive, one needs to be staying there all the time. So in that way, the choice is not there. This type of love philosophy and matter has also been discussed by Robert Frost in his poem Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. In that poem, too, the similar kind of condition of a lover has been talked about. Ultimately, by bearing the love, the lover is no more, but he tries to survive with the similar kind of love also. So that is what different discussions can take place on this love poem. We have some of the stylistic issues of the poem also. There are two stanzas only, and as I already said, that these two stanzas also mixed up of a different sort. And then there is a type of rhyme scheme also. Well, I think rhyme scheme is the ending sound of the lines, and sometimes it may be resembling. For example, if you look at the poem, the ending sound hard, for example, is the A sound, then it comes the gasp B sound, then comes Titans and loved and moved. So in that way, some of the resemblance is there. For example, loved and moved is there, and that after that, if you come downwards, then we have this is and again abyss, and before can also be related with somewhere in the ending of the line. Live is also resemblable with this is. So in that way, there is a kind of rhyme scheme, but this rhyme scheme is quite unusual. Like if you look at it, it's been developed like that: A A B D D E F G G F F. This is the type of rhyme scheme possibly we can discover with much effort. Then is the alliteration in the lines. For example, two words happen quite together, two consonant sounds happen quite close to each other. For example, hold hard, loosen a little. These two sounds are available inside the poem, the text of the poem, and so alliteration is also available. Personification has also been done. This personification is done through fist. Fist is itself nothing, it's a part of human body, but it's working in creating love and pain, just like a man or a person who can create love and pain and happiness for the other people by sheer grip. So that is why personification has been done on, I mean, living qualities have been assigned to something which is not a human being. Then enjambment is there, like it is the continuity of the words as well as that of the process. For example, when somebody says plunging, it means that going down into something. Howling, then plunging, howling. It means that you are going down also, you're crying also with pain and a lot of trouble and entering into abyss. So this plunging and howling definitely leads to something howling. So in that way, continuity is there, and this is called as the enjambment. Onomatopoeia is the kind of sound. For example, when we say the word howling, at that time, if we howl, actually, we utter the sound ow. So it means that the word and the sound resemble with each other, and that is called as the onomatopoeia. Then is the metaphor of fist and clench and lech and abyss. All these metaphors have been used to show what can happen to someone who is a lover, that he can reach first of all to the height, to the top of the ledge, and ultimately can fall into the abyss, and then he can create love, and clenching of the fist can also be possibly there in order to render very clear to us what is the situation of the poet. The conclusion can be done by talking about the poem, that it's a very simple poem, that in which the condition of the lover has been pointed out. When he reaches to the extremities of love, at that time he is in the pain, and that pain cannot be realized by anyone, and that pain cannot be finished as well. Love can be of two types, that is fulfilled love. Possibly it can give us more pleasure for some time, but it's just actually the unachieved love, unfulfilled love, which is called really love, and that unfulfilledness causes the pangs, and these pangs make us constantly suffer. And so the poet says that if someone needs to enjoy love, then restraint should be exercised in love. But then restrained love would not be love at all. It has to be the love with madness. And but if it is with madness, then definitely the pangs are there. So the lesson is that if you are a lover, if you are a true lover, then definitely you must be ready to have the pangs of love as well. Because for a lover, the survival is possible only with the madness of love. So that is the kind of bitter side of love achieved in this poem, talked about and discussed in this poem. The very short poem talks about love in a very different way. So therefore, that is the kind of lesson which we possibly have in the poem. Well, again and again, I would say that this poem is really very simple, very interesting. As you have seen, for example, here the poem is again visible to you people, that it is having, the text which is very short, two parts of the poem, and is discussing the matter of love by just a few words, like clenching of the fist. And definitely, if fist clenches, then surely something painful is to result. The loosening will give some comfort, but then the poet would like to live in that condition, because that is the proof of his love. However, if he needs to relax, then the clenching of the fist needs to relax. It means that love is to be decreased, which is not possible, and as a result, the poet has to, the lover has to remain constantly in the love. So that is the poem as a whole that we have talked about and discussed. I hope so that I have been able to convey some of the meanings of the poem, though not completely. It's for the sake of students of postcolonial literature, that they may be able to write their critical appreciations of the poem. And if they enter the materials which are presented here, and they consult it on different levels from their internet websites or their books, they will be able to write a very good critical appreciation of the poem. So far, I'm just about to close this video. I hope so that everyone has enjoyed, everyone has understood a little bit of the poem, or at least the matter of love has risen once again in the hearts of everybody, which I have talked about here. Maybe having more discussion available in some next coming video. So far for this day, it's okay to say goodbye at this time. Thank you for watching.